All right, welcome. This is the Fantasy Trail. I'm Matt, along with,
JT here. We got
and
a
this is
conspicuous absence.
episode 6, season 3 of the Fantasy Trail, and it looks like I have to change the name again. I don't know why it keeps on doing that. Um, new night, same crappy hosts. Although we are missing Serrano, hopefully he'll be able to join us sometime tonight.
So I really love that that's your title, and we don't have the same host. Nicely done.
So this was quite the interesting week. Did you have any overall impressions of the week? Would you say?
I think it muddled things up. I think it brought everybody a little closer. We kind of had the haves and have-nots before, and we ended with a few have-nots, but very less separation between the middle and the haves. A lot of teams that had a chance to go 3-0 didn't. The only one happens to be you. We have a big muddled mess at 2-1. I think there are 7 teams that are 2-1. I want to say, and that's pretty crazy. Good Lord, Scrowny, you look real different.
You sent in a fill-in tonight. He wanted to surprise everyone.
Oh, no.
You figured it was a good week to send in the most obnoxious person, so here I am.
Okay.
Yep.
So what were your overall impressions of week 3? I know you put a high score of the week.
Don't ask that question right now.
Week three was
eyes.
That was a good one. Michael Thomas probably didn't like it as much, though.
Rachel, I have a serious question for you.
Yep.
What animal did you sacrifice to enjoy the weekend that you just got to enjoy?
A lot. It was a good weekend for sure. The Sunday night game just topped it too.
Yeah.
It was great.
Well, with that in mind, Smala, should we start with Rachel's top score?
Yeah, Rachel, you put up a 172 against Michael's 115.
Never count out the underdogs.
So what was different for your team this week?
Scored points.
I took Shady out.
Well, he took himself out.
Had to take him out. Yeah, that was the biggest thing, I think, was switching around my running backs.
So are you going to play him this week?
I do not have him in right now. No. I think I'm going to go another week without him.
Wow. Even when he's coming back, the loyalists of those fans can't hang in there.
To redeem myself, though, me and you did a trade this week, JT, which made me lose my backup quarterback. And so today off the waiver, I picked up Josh Allen.
I saw that, which is interesting.
Of benching Shady, I picked up Josh.
I like it how trade resulted in you getting Josh Allen and me getting Baker Mayfield. What a disastrous league that we have managed to be a part of.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, Mahomes obviously is your guy. He looks like just an absolute stud. People were on that train before the year, and I think you were looking as your quarterback was going to be Luck, and Mahomes is clearly better.
Yeah,
He's been great.
The first couple weeks and regretted it. So that's right.
And then I think you caught a little bit of a Robert Woods fluke game. I would say 34 for him is unexpected.
34 for anyone's unexpected.
True.
Yeah, but you were solid top to bottom. Michael has to be incredibly let down by Kirk Cousins. All the better that you were going against him when he was going against the Bills.
Never play people against the Bills. I say that every week.
But I think Tyreek Hill, it was a big letdown game for him.
He had to come back down to earth, though. Come on.
He did.
Yeah. But Michael really, he's got to be reeling because he was coming off of 2 really good weeks. And I think he's got an interesting choice going forward with Goff versus Cousins every week.
Yeah, that'll be tough. After seeing Cousins last week, I don't know that I'd start him for a little bit.
And his receivers are so good.
And against the Rams, I don't know about that.
All right,
yeah,
let's move on.
We're playing each other, so he's going to have one of them going on Thursday night no matter what.
True.
And you know how I feel about Thursday night games.
Hate him. Absolutely hate him.
Because the Browns win on Thursday nights.
All right, let's move on. Casey lost 108 to Joel with a 134. Look, and Casey had 3 players. Big Ben put up a 27, Kamara put up a 34, and Juju put up a 20.6. and he still lost.
Yeah, so quick math, that's 50, 61. That's 81 of his points. That means the rest of his 7 players put up 27.
Yeah, and his bench, you take out Prescott because you can only play one quarterback. I mean, there's not a lot on his bench.
He's obviously taking a hit with the Freeman loss. That sucks for him.
And it looks like he might be back this week, so that will help.
It will, and I think he took a big hit when he lost to Laney Walker. I mean, Safarian Jenkins is clearly not a very good fill-in, so he has lost a couple names, but
yeah.
Think he'll drop Dak?
No.
I think he should.
I think
He should, but
I mean, he's got to be one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the league, point-wise.
Yeah.
Joelle, though, another solid win.
I hope you guys ranked her higher this week. She's proven herself.
I did. She was diehard on picking up Tyler Boyd the other day. And I was like, I think that's a good move. I don't know. He had a good week. And then we were watching the game. And, of course, that's the Panthers game on TV here. She's just loving it as he's going nuts for a 26.
Yeah.
But now I think Joelle has a choice at quarterback to make. I mean, Rodgers only put up a 22. And Rivers put up a 19 against the Rams. I know they lost some quarterbacks during the game, but still.
Yeah. I think she absolutely has a choice. She's played Rivers 1 week. It's really tough to bench Rodgers, but if you're watching him play, it's painful to see.
Yeah. And I think she got a steal with Boyd.
Yeah.
Rachel, would you play Rodgers against the Bills?
Certainly would not. I think Kirk Cousins learned his lesson last week on that, and I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be the next one to learn his lesson on that. But Tyler Boyd was definitely a good pickup. He'll always have a soft spot for me.
Why is that? AJ Green with that groin injury is a little bit of a concern for her, and I think she's just not going to be as happy with Zeke. He hasn't done poorly, but I just don't think he has the ceiling that he used to have. His team is so bad. I think that's going to be a letdown for her.
Well, if they can figure out their offensive line, I mean, he has a chance. But Dallas also doesn't have anyone else, so he'll get the ball.
Oh, weapons. Ugh, it's just ugly.
Yeah.
Outside of Boyd, I don't, Watkins had a good game, but she didn't have anybody else with a great week and still put up a pretty good score. She would have lost to a lot of other teams, so she, running into Casey makes us all feel better. I certainly feel that way next week, but.
All right, let's talk about Scarano with the second high score. Puts up a 159 against Brian's 124.
That Peacock was strutting that he was going to have the top score too. He was, and then he tried to soft shoe it with the I don't know, cause he and
sure did.
And Mr. Brady lets him down. The number of things that went right for you, Rachel, was
it's hilarious. That's what he said. He texted me today and he's like, "You have the most to brag about this week than anyone I know." I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it."
Yeah, and he's right. It was an 8 at QB. That's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yep. But Ridley Ford with 40.5, that helps. And then Sterling Shepard with Ingram going out, that helped Shepard. And you really saw him pick it up after Ingram left the game early on. Sorry, JP.
Tell me about it. My team is an injury ward. I lost Garoppolo, Ingram. We'll talk about it in a minute, but oh my Lord, that team just fell apart. What a collapse.
But you know what? I mean, Goodwin hasn't done anything this year, and now with Garoppolo out, sorry, JT, I don't think he's going to do anything moving forward.
I cannot believe that Scarano didn't get a great game out of Ridley, dropped him, was able to pick him back up, and then rides his 41-point explosion to a win. What a stupid fantasy football.
Look, and then Brian didn't have a bad week. I mean, 124, that's not a terrible score. It would have beat a lot of teams this week.
Who screwed him over? Oh, Stephon Diggs.
Oh, I was going to say Gronk.
Oh, yeah, Gronk too, but 5.7 is a little lower.
And then I think
strange because Thielen had a huge day.
I think it's be disappointing in Clement too, because I mean, I thought Clement was going to have a huge game, and then it was Smallwood.
It was Smallwood. I know. I thought the same. I think a lot of us were thinking that in DraftKings, but I mean, you look down at Brian's team, and he got some horrible news today. The Burkhead news, completely out of nowhere. Well,
Yeah,
very strange. Watson has a good game. Fitz also had a good game. Quarterback hasn't been as much of an issue for him lately, but I don't know.
yeah.
He's got it rough. He's not scoring any points.
But you know what? I mean, Gordon.
Gordon if they come back.
I think Gordon, even if Gordon doesn't have a great week this week, I think he's in store for some things with Edelman coming back and with Gronk. They just can't focus on him. And then I think Aaron Jones, he didn't get a lot of run, but I think he'll have better weeks, and he looks like the number one back in Green Bay.
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know. They don't seem to have a great running game ever. If he gets Bell back, he's always going to have a chance because he's such a dominating stud, and he didn't get Connor. So I was saying to you before, this reminds me of Scarano losing Johnson last year. You can't lose your top.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. All right. Next, we have Colin losing to Rich. Colin with the 120, Rich with a 143.
Happy to say Rich has been, really digging it, loving it this year. Lots of texts. He gave me a call the other day to talk about it. I know sometimes he can get super busy with work, and he's got a little more freedom, I think, and he's really into it, and I'm really enjoying having him be a good team again, because I know when he first came in, he was really good. He kind of faded for a couple years there.
Yeah. Look, Breeze, Gordon, that's a 1-2 punch that very few teams can match.
How about the fact that Drew Brees put up a 44 and didn't have the highest quarterback score on his team?
That's pretty crazy, yeah.
That's
Him and
impossible.
Brian are the top two quarterbacks this year against each other.
Unbelievable.
You would have see Drew Brees rushing for 2 scores.
Yeah.
How about that second one? Did you see the spin move?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, an incredible pirouette. He faked out 2 cornerbacks. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I guess that was the first one now that I think about it. The second one was the dive for the win. But Rich I think, even has a better team ahead. He benched, Cook, rightfully so. But that's a stud running back when he comes back. Drew Brees, Melvin Gordon, and Cook. Yes. Sanders has been wonderful. Cooks has been really good. Deshaun Jackson finally came back to life, but
yeah,
got Lynch to plug in there. His team looks good.
Yeah. And then, I kind of feel bad for Colin. I mean, you look at this defense, Minnesota against Buffalo, you would have thought, they would have got more than 3 points.
Most of us did.
Yeah.
And then, with Bryant, the kicker, he only has 3 points. They scored 5 touchdowns, and you only have 3 points.
Yeah.
Weird.
That's very strange.
This year, for sure.
Yeah. But, Buck Allen scored again. Buck Allen scored every week this year.
Yeah, I think he had 2 touchdowns. Maybe didn't he have a receiving touchdown?
2 total. He had 2 total this year.
Yeah, he's had a touchdown every week. Wow. With no carries, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have a bad team, but he's caught some rough luck.
All right, let's talk about you and Angela. Battle of the benches.
Battle of the disasters. We had 2 of the 3 lowest scores of the week, by the way.
103 to JT's 114. And look, you had 2 massive quarterback scores. 32 points for Angela and 24 points for Jimmy G until he got broken.
Yeah. I would like to just make note of the fact Jimmy G's happened later, so that was just a sad ending. But there was a 5-minute stretch when Evan Ingram busted up his MCL and Philip Lindsay punched somebody in the head and got ejected. And I was suddenly down to 8 players very quickly. And looking at Angela, who did not start a tight end, by the way. And I'm looking at it going, I'm going to lose to this. I'm going to lose this to 9 players because now I only have 8 players.
Yeah, and she has a huge Jordy Nelson score on her bench.
Yeah, you couldn't have played him though. He was nothing the first 2 weeks. That one I understand. Sitting Gio Bernard was that's inexcusable.
So
and then not playing tight end is inexcusable. She could have subbed in Watson, who was on her team. Doyle was announced out much earlier in the week, and if she subbed him in, she wins. If she subs in Giovanni Bernard for Duke Johnson or for Randall Cobb, she wins. These were not hard calls. This was just unfortunate coaching. And listen, I messed up coaching. I sat AP. I sat Freeman. I put in, Lindsay and Disley, who were just dismal.
But those were all understandable decisions.
I mean, yeah, Lindsay I think is better than Freeman, but you can't punch people in the head, from what I understand. Illegal. And Disley had been really good and then decided to suck.
Yeah.
I need Fournette back. That's my number one pick that I'm not getting anything out of.
And you know what? I think if you would have told them they were going to lose that game, he probably would have played. But I think they thought that they were going to be able to beat the Titans.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's why they sat him. But it's killing me. He played the half of the first week and has not played since. And they were like thinking he was going to come back in that game in the first week. And that dude is made of tissue paper.
Yeah. I think they're just being cautious, honestly. I think.
Don't they know what this means to me? The man's fine.
All right. And let's move on to the last game of the week. I beat Jake 153 to 148.
Tough fit for Jake. And because I don't deserve to win this week. I don't. 113 does not deserve to win, and Jake does not deserve to lose.
And I came out to a big lead Thursday night. Jake had kind of caught up, and then we went back and forth. And the 4 o'clock game, Jake just took this massive lead on me, and it did not look good. I pulled in close with the Sunday night game, and then it was all up to Monday night. And at first the Bucs did not look good, and I pulled it out.
I cannot believe that you pulled it out with Wentz getting a 12, your defense getting a 3, and your kicker getting a 0. If you said that your kicker, defense, and quarterback would get 15 points and that you would win with 150, no one would believe you. That's beyond ridiculous. Great consistency, great performances. Balin with 24 without a touchdown. Boy, thank you, new scoring. And your boy Mike Evans really saving the day for you.
Yeah. And then I Mike Williams against the Rams with a 24 on my bench always hurts.
I think Jake's got a great team though. It's a tough loss, and he's got 3 pretty good studs on his bench. I mean, Mixon we see now is an awesome running back. Sub that in for one of his guys there. You get Mark Ingram back, who was wonderful last year, and Edelman is clearly needed by the Patriots because they're floundering. He's got a good squad. So that's a good win for you tomorrow. That's a good time to sneak out a win against another good team.
Yeah. Now, he has Dalton on his bench. Alex Smith has not looked great as quarterback. Would you maybe play Dalton over Smith?
Let's see here. Smith has outscored him twice.
Out of 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. He had 1 bad week against Indy where he didn't throw any touchdowns, but otherwise he's outscored him both the other weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that's up to who they're playing.
Yeah, neither one is somebody that you love putting out there, but with the rest of his team, I mean, Hopkins and Thomas, you're not getting a better duo than that in a PPR league especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good squad, so there's our recap. So what's that leave us with, Tamala?
All right, let's go into rankings. And I kind of wish that I knew that Rachel was joining us because I would have
ranked her higher.
Yeah.
No, I would have let her do the rankings for Scarano.
Ooh.
Oh, see, Scarano's sending these. He's sending these texts as if he's talking to us with no context.
Hilarious.
Sony Michel didn't travel with the team. And I'm like, oh, really? He's like, no, Doyle didn't. It's Toronto. We don't know what you're talking about if you don't.
So this is actually like when I'm watching, huh?
Oh. Yes.
This is hilarious.
Okay. Oof.
So this is Angela's number 12. Look, she doesn't have a quarterback to play this week. She needs to pick someone up. Will she make some moves? She needs to move. I mean, she's kind of.
And as a man who just stared at that waiver wire, it ain't pretty.
But, like, you know what? She has lots of points on her bench. It's a matter of just her making the move.
Absolutely. I was looking at the points for. Tamala, you always tend to be up near the top there. But if you're looking at either you or Michael Thomas, you have scored approximately 140 more points than her already. 130 more.
We'll get to that part.
That's a tough start. That's 40 points a week that you're putting up over her.
Yeah.
And I'm not far behind, so don't get me wrong. I'm right there next to her.
Tannehill's probably her best bet on the waiver, actually.
That was my move if I was going to do it. I just couldn't bring myself to have Ryan Tannehill as my
Tannehill for Josh Allen?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Tannehill hurdle over any players.
Yeah, that's going to get him killed.
I would also pick Tannehill, apparently. Cool, Cuzzy.
Thank you, Brian. And I picked Baker. There you go, brother.
All right. Next, we got Brian at number 11. Bell, just kind of running out of time. Talking about maybe trading him. Brian needs wins, and he needs wins. Like, I think it's a tough situation. I mean, anytime you lose, the top pick, top 3, however you would have ranked him, I mean, it's tough.
Yeah, I was feeling the same way about him as I am with Angela, where it's like I don't have good points either, so I'm right there with Brian in terms of points. The 3 of us are the bottom 3 in the league, I think. But I've been lucky enough to sneak out 2 wins, and that gives me a chance because I'm probably not going to sneak into that 5th or 6th spot with the points that are needed to get there. So I'm going to have to make top 4 by having wins. And if you're 0-3 and you fall to 0-4, it's going to be really hard to sneak in with wins if your points don't give you a chance.
Yeah,
he needs to go back soon. It would almost be wondered if he needs to trade him to somebody that might be more willing to sit on him. I don't know what you can give for him at this point. It's a mess.
Now, I think another problem with Brian's team is he has he has quality players, but they're timeshares, and you don't quite know what you're going to get every week. I mean, he has both Green Bay running backs. Clement, could put up a huge week, or he could be regulated to nothing. Alex Collins has looked great, but Buck Allen's gotten a touchdown every week. So it's just he doesn't have any he has a lot of players who aren't clear-cut starters.
I got 2 things. Rachel, your Snapchat of a shirtless Brian popping a small bottle of champagne was one of the more enjoyable things I've witnessed in my life. One.
You got your Mayfield jersey in the mail yesterday too. So.
That was also that was the exclamation point on that. That was wonderful. And number 2, I'd like a report from the locker room. How's Brian feeling this season?
Brian, how you feeling this season?
Thumbs down.
Yeah.
Tough go.
Yeah.
Who's next?
JT comes in at number 10.
Dagger.
Now,
at least 3.
But look, I think you had a crappy quarterback situation, and you made the best out of it. I think getting Luck is a good move and better than anything available on the waiver wire long term.
Yeah, I agree, but I knew I had to give up something, and AP's been pretty damn good. So it's the cost of losing a player. You gotta ditch depth to get a starter.
Yeah, I think I look at Beckham. I think Beckham's going to have a huge game. Because of your Ingram injury, it looks like Fournette will play.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got some good matchups as far as the teams your players are playing this week.
The best matchup is the fact that I'm playing Casey. Who, by the way, doesn't have a win, but is somehow ranked higher than me. WTF, guys.
When we look at the actual rankings, we'll see where you rank yourself, buddy.
Damn, I forgot you guys get to see that.
All right. Looking at Casey coming in at number 9.
Wow, I really moved up. Wow.
You know, I'm interested to see, and you know, like you said, he doesn't have a win. I mean, Kamara will have another huge game against the Giants, but you know, with Ingram coming back the week after this coming week, week 5, does that change Kamara's role at all? I mean, I know he's not putting up huge rushing numbers, but is that just going to take touches away from him?
What am I missing here? Are we looking at the fact that a ton of teams have scored high against him? I mean, he's got the second most points against. Is that where he's getting ranked this high? Because the dude hasn't won a game yet.
I mean, you look. Big Ben's put up big numbers. Juju's put up big numbers. He's probably put up. I would say right now, I don't think he's a better receiver, but I think he's the better fantasy play over Antonio Brown. Kamara puts up huge numbers.
He's got a couple guys for sure, and Freeman coming back is going to be helpful. But I don't think anybody likes Corey Davis. I don't think anybody likes Dante Moncrief. Eifert's been so-so. I mean, some of the, I don't look at his bench and feel like any of those guys are worth playing.
Even Larry Fitz.
Look at his bench and tell me one guy you'd want to put in there as a starter.
Delaney Walker.
That can actually move his leg.
Can we talk about that? You know, he has 4 tight ends on his team. I didn't think you could have 4 tight ends is the max you can have. And he only has 2 running backs.
I couldn't get why I couldn't trade for one. He has 4 tight ends.
4 tight ends, 2
and only 2 running backs. Like, what's going to happen during the buys, or if someone get and Freeman was hurt for 2 weeks.
All of Casey's flex spots are just going to be tight end 1 week.
And he's ranked higher than me.
All
you
right.
got to beat him this week, and then you'll move up.
All right, Haley, I believe you were 12th last week.
Yes, I was. Lost place, bottom of the barrel.
All right.
I'm just crawling back.
Good job.
So you put up the huge score. You have the best quarterback in the league with sorry to Fitzmagic. I know he has a couple more points, but I would much rather have Mahomes for the entire year. But you have to figure out what's happening with McCoy, and I mean, David Johnson, you have to play him, but
I want to, not to burst your bubble, which I could never do based on what happened this weekend, but there was a quote from you 2 weeks ago. Quote, I will never abandon McCoy. I will never give up on McCoy. Buffalo for life. Immediately injured.
Jersey.
Injured, and now coming back. I think I'm going to bench him again. Interesting.
Listen, there are, what's today, Wednesday? There are still 4 days for me to drastically change my mind on that. And odds are I probably will change my mind.
I'm just going to send you pictures of him every day until you're guilted into putting him back in your lineup.
Yeah, you'll probably succeed with that too.
So can I just ask you, how come you're going with Kittle over Graham?
Because Graham playing the Bills this week.
Oh, God.
My logic has not failed me yet. I'm going to keep up with it.
Can you name the quarterback who's going to be throwing to George Kittle?
Nope, sure can't.
Neither can the San Francisco 49ers. Because it's either 4 guys they brought in, like TJ Yates and whatnot, or CJ Beathard is currently the.
Sometimes, though, when you throw in a new quarterback, they surprise you. So I'm going to just pretend that that's going to happen. And I know what I'm getting with the Bills defense, and I don't want to risk it with Jimmy Graham.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Scarano comes in at number 7. He had a big score. Baldwin, that hurts him, and it will continue to hurt him. And he has young guys stepping up. The only question is, will they continue to step up, or are they going to fade?
Baldwin's coming back this week.
Definite?
Not definite, but it was cleared to practice, predicted to be playing, and practiced a little bit today.
Okay.
Did Toronto ever put him on the IR?
No, he didn't.
Smart.
Yes.
Might get a free week out of that. Might save him.
You know, he's hit this week. He's going to be a tough week with him. He's hit with the buys. You
Look at him throwing so much shell in. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Strano says he's playing.
Yeah. Sony Michel is his only running back playing for this week. What a strange team.
Yep. We'll see. We'll see if Brady can step up. I mean, he has not been the player Scarano was hoping for when he drafted him.
No, but McCaffrey has, and I think that's a real hit for him to lose him.
Yeah. All right. Casey comes in.
No, Casey can't do this again.
No.
Casey.
All right, let's skip number 6.
Are you just trolling me by putting him higher than me twice?
No, you know what I think it was? I think that's what's no. Who am I missing?
Is it Colin?
No.
Colin at 5.
I think it should be Colin.
All right, let's skip it. We'll skip 6 for now. Colin. Okay.
He dropped Dez today, by the way.
He just dropped Dez this afternoon.
Yep. I think he saw the PowerPoint.
and then, you know, I mean, look, he has Stafford in. But would you play Wilson against Arizona?
Russell?
Yeah.
Yeah, Arizona's horrible.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, that would be an interesting play. He benched him last week, and we'll see if he plays him this week.
Colin's in a weird spot because he's got, you know, his record and his points kind of like me don't seem to really match up. He's got a little better points than me, but nobody has put up anything against him. He's got the lowest points against in the league, and that's really what's helped him. You know, he's got a plus 30, but it's because he's had so much less scored against him than, say, like Michael or Casey.
Yeah. With Chicago, you know how I feel about having, you know, a ton of players from one team, but they're playing Tampa Bay, who's put up huge scores all year.
You really hate that. You mention that every week that you hated Chicago.
That's more Bills than I have.
But like, you know, Scarano has 3 Panthers, which I didn't realize.
True.
They're not all starters, but, you know, moving on. I wonder if Chicago will have to throw it a little bit more. I know Chicago has a huge defense, but will they have to throw it a little bit more to keep up?
I would say Bears fans hope that they don't. Trubisky has not looked good.
No, he has not. But I think he has the potential.
I'm not sure he does.
So.
Or Khalil Mack will just make the offense on the field the whole game.
Unbelievable. So
right,
good.
Joel, you know, we talked about it a little bit earlier with your team. AJ, he was practicing today. They say he's going to play, but he's been injury prone.
Did anybody see that injury?
No.
I don't know if anybody was watching that it's out there, but it was very strange. He went up in the air, kind of got hit, and like landed on his hip, and it looked like maybe he could have like knocked the wind out of himself or something. Well, for them to call it a groin injury, it just didn't look like the way you would ever injure a groin.
Yeah.
He landed on the outside of his leg. He jumped for the ball and looked fine. Like, I don't know. Something seemed a little fishy about it.
Yes. And then Joelle, you know, while she has a very solid team and she has a good backup quarterback, the rest of her bench is kind of weak.
Well, I know
always been a weakness for her. She needs to. She's got a backup tight end. That's she loses Reed.
Njoku, I think, is a good backup. He hasn't shown much, but I think with Mayfield, that will only help him.
That's true. I think Cohen's been a letdown. He was really good last year.
Can you please let Joelle know that Scarano sent her a trade? This is like the 3rd time he's mentioned it.
Oh, dear God. These poor people that aren't watching are getting 6,000 texts from Scarano.
With just like one word.
Yeah. No.
He's writing a sentence as like a haiku, but one word at a time. Unheralded, by the way, is Robbie Gould, who has been just a stud.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right.
Yeah. Good tennis ground. Stop. Or you're killing me.
Mike, disappointing. He drops a little bit. Both his quarterbacks play in the Thursday night game. You know how I feel. I'm just mentioning it.
Oh, by the way, it must have been Richard for the other ranking because it's got to be you and Jake in the top two. So
yeah. Sorry, Rich. We'll go back and talk about your team next.
for your squad.
I think Antonio Brown, like I said, I think so far Juju's had the better fantasy year. And are we going to see that breakout from Antonio Brown coming up?
I mean, I don't know. He had a pretty good week last week. Nice little 17. He's still averaging 19 points. I know you're saying Juju's been a lot better, but Brown's got a 19-point average, man. I don't think you can be that upset with it.
Yeah, but when you draft Brown as high as you draft Brown, you're expecting, a couple 30-point games, and he just hasn't, he's always had those games in the past where he's just he's won you the week. And maybe I kind of thought with the full point PPR, it would be even more incredible this year, and it just hasn't happened yet.
Okay. Fair enough.
Last year he put up there were weeks he put up high 30s.
Yeah, and that was with half point.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, definitely you expect a little bit more, but he hasn't been like Amari Cooper bad.
All right, let's go back to Rich. I obviously don't have a slide for him, and I'm sorry, Rich.
Okay, but we would have had him at 6. We're
going
to say that, which I honestly think is a little low, but
yeah, he gets Cook back this week, which will help.
Yeah.
And
I really like his starting squad. I mean, if you look at his bench outside of Ryan, it's a little questionable because Deshaun came back down to earth, but his starting squad is solid, top to bottom.
Yeah.
Your only question mark there, I think, is Cooper.
And I think Cooper is going to be hit or miss. He's going to have some huge weeks, and he's going to have some not huge weeks. But I think he's one of those players you could just kind of have to keep on rolling out there.
I think Rich has to make a move with his defense. His defense is as a 3 average. I don't think you can stick with a team doing that. 28th in the league.
Yeah. All right. Number 2 is Jake. He has reinforcements coming next week. He has 3 players out on bye.
Anybody notable? Nah. Thompson, I guess.
There's a chance Mixon might play this week.
I think that would be silly to rush him back.
Yeah.
And then, so he has the number 1 ranked wide receiver, number 1 ranked tight end, and the number 1 ranked D on his team.
Oof.
I'm a big believer in you get advantages where you can, and when you have the number 1 tight end, and I think he's the number 1 tight end by quite a bit.
Yeah. And as you were saying, all that with 4 guys on his bench that could easily be slotted in as starters. So good depth. Now, the suspensions are going to be cool.
I think Michael Thomas, he's been absolutely amazing this year. More catches over the first 3 games than anyone. So you have to figure regression is coming, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how the Saints offense changes next week with Ingram coming back. And that leads number 1. That's me. I'm the only 3-0 team. The rest of you can just suck it.
I love when you have to rank yourself because you would like nothing more than to not be ranked high.
Where did I rank myself this week?
I hope you ranked yourself number 1.
I don't know. We can't see the other people's rankings. You said you made it blind.
I did make it blind, but you'll see it coming up.
Well, then I look forward to seeing it coming up.
All right, so this is the ranking breakdown. You can see,
Toronto. You SOB. It cost me a Casey ranking.
Oh, Tamala, you ranked me number 11. Interesting. I'll have to remember that.
yeah, Haley, you got to show it to me more than just 1 week.
Got it.
Wow.
Your overall points scored, not that high. Show it to me again.
Below the line.
Wow.
All right, so this is, there's one 3-0 team, myself, and there's 3 0-3 teams, Casey, Brian, and Angela. And then
7 teams, 2-1.
Now, this is, what we were talking about. Points scored, Rachel, there you are with a 381. Not the lowest, but, I'd like to see a little bit more. And while Michael Thomas has, the second highest score, he has the highest score against.
That's a lot against him.
Yeah.
Wow.
I noticed that most teams, going along with that Michael thing, most teams would have a worse record having that points against. That's an unbelievable amount.
Like Casey. Casey's not far under him for points against.
Right, but he hasn't scored anywhere near that.
Right.
Look at my points for and against. I'm a -30, but I have 2 wins and 1 loss. That's weird. I don't deserve that. I should have a worse record.
That's why you were ranked where you were. Now you can stop complaining about it.
The only thing I want is to be ranked higher than Casey. I don't care where I am ranked other than that. I could be 12A and he could be 12B.
I gotta think if you beat him this week, that's a compelling argument for you.
Oh, if I beat him this week, I'm definitely gonna be ranked higher than him.
All right.
I think.
So let's move on to previews for this upcoming week. All right. JT, you want to start your matchup against Casey? And I can guarantee if you beat Casey this week, you will not be ranked lower than him.
Well, yeah. I mean, at that point, he'll be 0-4. I think it's a big week for him. I'm currently projected to beat him. I don't know if he's fully set his lineup. I don't feel confident any week. I don't like my team. Fournette is made of glass. I'm running out a serviceable but not great quarterback. I don't know. I will happily beat Casey if I can, but I don't like the matchup against anybody right now.
And Casey has a ton of late starts. So you're going to come out to this massive lead, and then it's going to be Sunday night. You're going to be waiting.
I hate that.
Yeah. I mean, if I play Lindsay, I'll have a Monday night, and then I have a couple late Sunday. I mean, I have 5 guys left after 1 o'clock, and that's all he has too.
But he has Big Ben, Juju, Sunday night, and that's always tough. Always tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate that when you're ahead and watching people try and slowly claw their way back.
All right.
What do you got next? We got Jake versus Joel.
Yep.
Battle of the 2-1s. Two good squads.
Right now they're projected both around 130. Real close. We had just talked about actually he has Dalton in.
I hadn't seen that move. AJ Green will be big for her because, as we mentioned, she does not have a lot of depth.
But you know what? I think even if AJ goes out, that only helps Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, but Boyd's been great even with AJ in there. So I don't know. She needs a tight end too.
I was gonna say they're close right now, and Joel doesn't have anyone in her tight end spot.
Well, she has Njoku on her bench. She just needs to move in there.
Right.
That would give her the projection lead, like Rachel was saying.
Yeah.
Jake has scored higher than her every single week thus far, though.
And Jake doesn't have anyone on his bench he can put in
because of injuries, suspensions, and whatnot else.
Although Crowder is projected for 1/10 of a point on the bye week, so I would put him in just for that.
Impressive. Who's next? We got Scriano versus Michael Thomas.
Yep. Michael looks to be. I mean, it looks like he's going to take care of Scriano quite easily. But as we know, Scriano put up a huge score last week, so it's very possible. Baldwin will be big for Scriano if he comes back and he actually does anything.
Brady's the key for Scriano. Right now, Scriano is heavily reliant on New England. I think we all know how Rachel's going to feel about that. But if New England truly is falling apart, which we've, preemptively written them off before, but if we really are watching them fall apart, Scriano's in trouble because he's relying on two of their guys big time.
Yep. And then Michael also has JJ on his bench. He's only projected with 10 points, but I see that number slowly creeping up as we get closer, and looks like he's more likely to play.
And he got some good news on Olsen. Looks like Olsen might come back a little sooner than people thought originally.
How long is he supposed to be out for?
Undetermined. They did not give a time frame, but they just came out like today and said they think it's going to be sooner than what they originally were looking at. But they never gave an amount of weeks.
All right, let's move on to our next matchup. Let's go to Brian against Rich. And bad luck for Brian. He just hits another solid team coming up.
I like that he's got Le'Veon in right now.
You're very optimistic.
I like it, man. Half full, buddy.
And he's ready to play Gordon. Like he's on the Gordon bandwagon.
He's another New Englander right now. He's got Gronk and Gordon. Ooh. And he had Burkhead. What is happening, Brian?
We're not on speaking terms.
Yep. Rich, I don't know how you only have Drew Brees projected for 19 points. Like, I just feel like he should be projected for 30.
Home road splits, not as good.
But the Giants.
Giants have a pretty good defense.
Yeah, they played better last week with Apple out, and that was surprising because Apple's played very well this year.
Their quarterbacks, they gave up only 14 points to the Jaguars, only 16 points to the quarterback, that is, to Dallas, and then Watson had a good one with 27. But they've been pretty good against the quarterback, not horrible.
Yeah, I think where you have to look at Rich's team. Look at what happens with Cook, and in some ways, Rudolph. But Rich's week could be over on Thursday. He has a lot of players playing Thursday.
That is big. And Brian's got Diggs too, so that's a big game for them. That has to be one of the best Thursday night games we've seen in a long time.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait.
It's fun, but I hope it doesn't suck. All right, who are we doing first? Rachel's game or your game?
Let's do Rachel. All right, this is another close one, 0.2 of a point. Rachel against Colin. What do you think, Rachel?
Yeah. Let's see. It is close. 0.2 of a point. And my projection is going to go down if I put Shady in.
So it's going to go down?
Yeah, I don't know. I was having my dilemma with my bench people today. I was kind of looking at it. I'm probably going to switch it again, but I don't know. Godwin had an okay game last week, but
I thought he looked amazing. I know he had the bad fumble, but
yeah,
they kept on going back to him, and he was just. I was like, why aren't they throwing to Evans? Why do they keep on throwing to him?
Yeah, I was surprised, but they didn't go to him a ton. And Chris Carson put up pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah, you got some choices, especially when AP comes back. I think the buys will help you somewhat, but you're going to have some tough calls. They're good problem to have, but.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't know. Tyler Lockett. I got a few question marks.
Is Colin going to be playing Antonio Callaway? You think? You think he runs him back out there? He seems so boom or bust.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if I like anybody else too much on his
Well, yeah, I was gonna say he doesn't.
bench, but all right.
All right.
Tamale, you're our last game. You
Yeah.
are currently projected to squeak by Angela.
But like, okay, so with Angela, you know, she beat me last year in the finals. Like, I think she's beat me at least once every year for the past 4 years.
Understood, but you are projected 42 points ahead.
Okay, she doesn't have a quarterback in. That's part of it.
It's a piece.
Yeah, it's a piece. You know, like I said, will she make a move?
Listen, I also think Dan Bailey has been a superstar for you, and you should just keep running him back out there.
That's like against the Bills. Like, I thought I would have had extra points upon extra points, and then they stopped. They didn't even try. I feel like I don't know.
You're insulting the guest, Tamale. You're insulting the guest.
I mean, I might make a move. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know. It's a kicker. What can you possibly know? No one has any idea who's going to be a good kicker.
Yeah, but most times they put up more than a 0.
I mean, it seems like a fair request to ask your kicker to get a point.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the second week in a row I got a 0 from my kicker.
And you're still 3-0.
Yeah.
The sympathy only goes so far.
Yeah, buddy. We don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Now you're bragging. Now you've turned over this new leaf.
Well, I'm 3-0 without a kicker. Oh, cool.
I can't stop scoring a ton of points even without kickers.
You know, JT, you can't have it both ways. Either rank myself high or rank myself low.
Well, that's why you're waffling right now. Like, I don't know.
Need to get a new kicker.
I need something to talk about.
Dude, 90% of my guys need new knees.
Yeah. I mean, I just hope I can get something a little bit more out of Wentz. You know, I would think Tennessee coming up, that would be a huge game. No, but they beat Jacksonville.
I understand, but Jacksonville is certainly not a guaranteed dominating offense or anything like that. They're very trick or treat. So I think Wentz is going to be just fine for you. It was a smart risk. You got the good luck of him coming back early. He didn't get hurt last week. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
And you got good news with the James White with the Burkhead. That's huge for you. I think you're in good shape. I think you will be on top again going into next week.
All right, Rachel. Have you been paying attention to this little game we've played?
Which one of the 35 are you referring to?
Pick a player.
Pick a player.
Any player is not a quarterback.
All right, I do like this game. All right, I'm gonna have to go last though because I have had no thought about this.
Yeah, there hasn't been a ton of thought. I always tend to forget it as well as I'm going in.
Yeah.
Tamala, have you made it?
When we were going through talking about the teams, I'm just going to go OBJ.
Oh, you beat me to it.
And without Ingram to take away targets, it's going to be him and Shepard and Barkley. I mean, I think he's going to put up a huge game.
Okay. Damn, man. Now I'm going to have to think because that was literally my choice. I was looking at it with New Orleans having a bad defense. Just while you're thinking of that, it is worth noting I can't claim much, but I have won that 3 straight weeks against you two. Well, not you, Rachel, but
yeah, I haven't played yet.
Damn, man, you really did steal my guess.
Fascinating podcast right now.
You're killing me.
You're just listening to the audio.
You're killing me. I'm gonna go Kamara.
Okay.
I think that they are gonna have a little bit of a different offensive plan. when they're up in the Meadowlands, and he might be, I don't know, not that he hasn't been playing great anyways, but even better. Lots of catches. What a stud he's been.
Well, Rachel, while we're waiting for you, Scarano sent in the message that he's going with Barkley, unless Rachel wants to take him, and then we'll give him to Rachel.
You can have him.
I'm going with Saquon. Okay. I love that you guys are willing to put a lot of money on this. I think that's a nice gesture on your part, and I appreciate that you're willing to supplement my child's college fund.
All right. I think I am going to go with Mike Evans this week.
Ooh,
that would be very great.
Who are they? Who are they playing?
Against the Bears.
Wow.
Yeah.
Old pick. All right.
All right.
Tamala, I would like to add a caveat here.
Okay.
I think that we should have a rule in this that you cannot pick the same guy twice in the same year. It's like an eliminator version of this game.
Okay.
So no one has done that so far. Everybody's always picked somebody different every week.
You need to share this document with us, because honestly, I don't even remember. I mean, I know the first 7 passes as the Eagles marched down the field last week all go to tight ends. Ertz looks good. Gets a touchdown early. I'm in good shape. That I was kind of nervous with the tight end. I'm thinking it's going to be good, and then just nothing for the rest of the game, killing me.
All right, I just shared the results, and I have it in a notes file, so I'll move it over to a doc, and we'll share it. And Scarano, to answer your question, not if somebody else picked them, only you. I was thinking would that be the case for? So, like if I'd picked Michael Thomas earlier, you could pick him later, but I couldn't pick him again.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right.
Before we go, since we have 3 of the main players in the DraftKings League, and I don't care if anyone else is listening at that point because they've either watched or downloaded, it's fine. Rachel, you dominated that last year, and this year it's.
I know. I don't know what's happening. I was all, and even week 1, I was all hot on it, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna put some money on it this week. I did a couple different ones, and nope, nothing. I don't know. I'm gonna need to.
I was feeling good last week too. I put some money last week. I thought I really had it. Nothing.
And of course, I put up a huge score on a separate one, and with no money on it.
Yeah, but you won ours this time, so at least you got that little small victory.
It's just so tempting when you go on and all of them show up.
Oh, it's so enjoyable to be able to draft the new every week. None of your players are permanently injured. What a fun fantasy that is.
But see, I mean, with me, I know even when I play in multiple games, I tend to be like, oh, that guy's a real good value. Let me put him on all my teams. And I'm trying to step away from that and kind of give myself a different thought process, because usually if it ends up screwing me over.
Yeah, the past 2 weeks, I've gone all in on one player. Like last week, I spent a ton on Fitzpatrick. The week before that, Kamara. And both weeks, they were like mediocre. I was like, all right. Yep. So rethinking the strategy this week.
So many different strategies.
Yeah.
Tamal, the only other thing I wanted to bring up, and this has been talked about before, going far back as Casey's first year in the league. We never voted on this, so I don't think it's something that can be instituted mid-season. But there may need to be some sort of recourse or penalty for teams that don't play somebody.
Yeah.
Because that's going to affect the playoffs. I don't deserve a win this week. I should not have had a win this week. And so I'm saying that against myself. But I think that stinks. It's not that hard to make sure we have a lineup set. You can check 5 minutes before the game and make a move. It's not a last minute thing, but we can talk about it at the midseason or at the summit. But
yeah, I mean, I think one of those. I mean, I know the situation you're talking about wasn't a last minute thing, but sometimes last minute things do come up, or sometimes like some weeks are particularly busy. I know sometimes, especially like I'll be all over the 1 o'clock games.
Have you have you ever missed somebody? I can't imagine that.
Well, with Zerline, did they announce that? Wasn't that before the game?
He got hurt like on the first warm-up kick.
I thought he got hurt during warm-ups.
Yeah, but dude, like that wasn't announced that he wasn't going to play.
But like, I mean, I know. I mean, sometimes after the 1 o'clock games, I'm not paying as close attention to the 4 o'clocks. I was just thinking of some because what's the penalty? Like,
I have some ideas. I'll be making a flyer.
One idea I had was you would lose a bench spot.
I think that monetary fine. I think that there's escalation to this. I think there has to be, because there is money on the line. Yeah. And this is not just for fun. And our money is increasing every week, every year. We're paying more and more, and the payouts are more and more, and it's still for fun, and this is great, and it's not like we're going crazy. But if you're not going to participate, it could potentially affect somebody else's money, and that's not fair. You make a coaching mistake, you make a coaching mistake, but this is not a mistake.
So, I mean, we're throwing it out there, something for you guys to think about. I don't know if you guys have had this situation occur to you, but like think of what would be a penalty, or if we just need to leave it alone.
Right. And I think that the way to avoid the, oh my goodness, last minute is we put it to a vote, like a trade. We can do a panel. The whole league can vote. But do we think this was a situation where it was neglect, or whether it was just, oh my goodness, it was announced at 12:58 or 3:59?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough too, though, because I feel like every once in a while you have like, I don't know, a top kicker on your team. You don't want to drop someone the week that your kicker's on bye, so you keep them in.
All right, so you write to the league and say, hey guys, here's my plan.
Yeah, when the Eagles go on bye this week, I think I have all my Eagles plus another player or two. I think the Giants might be on bye same week, either that or the Bucks. That's going to be a tough week for me. I might just decide to punt that week.
But if you told us that and at least said this is a coaching strategy, I understand that it's maybe not my best thing, but I think it's the best thing for me going forward. Then there's at least reason behind it.
Yeah. So,
sure.
Rachel, do you want to do a celebratory hot take?
Oh, I didn't prepare a hot take.
How do you not have a dog bowl?
Toronto
in the dog bowl, man.
Or like a homemade Ritz and t-shirt.
8 o'clock, I'm like scrambling trying to find Kool-Aid. I couldn't find any Kool-Aid, so.
Can you at least give us your impression?
Kool-Aid Bills this week.
Wow, yeah, that's a given.
Yeah. But especially this week. And did you see we're 10-point underdogs this week? So even after beating the Vikings, the spread is still 10.
Yeesh.
Yeah. So, but that's fine. That's right where the
one-legged Rodgers.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch the Bills game at all.
You missed out.
Was the Bills' victory, and I know they crushed them. I know they absolutely crushed them.
Crushed them, hurdled them. They did it all.
But did that have more to do with the Bills outplaying them, or with the Vikings looking past the Bills?
I think it's a combination of both. I said that the whole time, that I thought that the Vikings were going to look ahead to their Thursday night game and just totally overlook the Bills. But I also think it's the first game Josh Allen played the full 4 quarters in. So
I think that mattered.
Second half to a 27-point deficit to try to make up for it. Yeah, the whole game and looked awesome.
Yeah. I also think that the Bills were taking shit hard all week. Like they were getting just crushed by the NFL. Everybody's making fun of them for the size of the spread. Everybody's making fun of them for how bad they are. Everybody's making fun of them for the Vontae Davis. There is a little nobody believes in us there. No one was giving them a chance. Everybody picked them in the eliminator pool. It was almost too much.
Yeah, I agree.
So now, okay, so let's go back to your team then real quick. Because Ivory had a decent game. He had a pretty good game last week. Mm-hmm. But you're still not convinced about McCoy. So would you say Ivory had a good game because of Allen, or are you just more worried about McCoy declining as a player?
Not declining as a player, but coming back on an injury. I don't know that they're going to give him as many reps as they normally would.
And he's still hurt enough that he could take one hit and leave the game.
That, and they played just fine without him last week, so I feel like they might not play him as much this week when they realize McCoy's not the be-all, end-all of our team.
True.
All right. That's some good analysis right there.
All righty.
Well, Rachel, it's been a pleasure having you this week.
Yeah, it's been fun. Thanks, Scarano, for giving up your
So much better than Scarano.
Oh, boy.
Scarano, appreciate your sacrifice. That was a good little game you played there. Did not see it coming.
He was all hyped up about it all day.
You know, at first I thought, did I send out the wrong link again?
Yeah.
No, he was.
Right in. There was that one time that we got Jake with no pants.
He texted me, he's like, go on at 9:02. I'm gonna tell them I'm running late, and then you'll just show up. I was like, okay, 9:02 it is.
What a schemer.
Yep, scheming.
All right, guys. Well, good luck in week 4. And again, we'll be back next Wednesday with a recap and future news. Thank you. Have a good night.
Good. All right.